friends, what's up? Long time no see. I just got back from Chicago and I went to BEA and Bookcon and it was the most amazing time. I got around 50 books in total, so today I'm going to show you about half and the other half I will review around their publication date. I know that I posted on Twitter a poll asking you guys if I should vlog and an overwhelming amount of you did say yes, but I did not find the gumption to vlog. It was a really overwhelming experience even though it was a really good one, so I only have a little bit of footage which I will show you at the very end of this video in like a little montage. Alright, so without any further ado, let's get started with the haul. So the first book that I have is Children of the New World by Alexander Weinstein. It is a collection of speculative short fiction set in a utopian future where technology has really evolved in advance and is kind of taking over human life. There's one about a cartographer that creates and sells virtual memories, and another one about the robotic brother of an adopted Chinese boy. They all kind of talk about reliance on technology and the way that technology changes our human behavior. Up next we have a debut thriller by Ian Reid. It's called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It's about two people that are on their way to a distant farm. Our driver's name is Jake and his passenger's name is just simply the passenger. There is kind of a snowfall or an avalanche and they are sidetracked and forced to pull over, and the blurb says nothing more than that. I was so lucky to have met Frederick Backman, and he signed his newest release called Britt Marie Was Here. He took so much time with me and he was one of the nicest authors. We talked about his characters and their characterization and how to pronounce their names. So this book in particular is about a woman named Britt Marie. She's a little bit fussy and picky and a little bit of a busybody as well, but one day she finds out that her husband is cheating on her, so she picks up and leaves him, and she is forced to take a job as a caretaker in a recreation center, and it goes on from there. Just like A Man Called Uva, it sounds like a heartwarming contemporary plus more. So at BEA, Harlequin was having this lineup where you could meet a line of 6 authors in one go, and during the suspense and thriller one, which I of course attended, I met Anna Snoekstra, and she is releasing her debut thriller this year called Only Daughter. It's actually one of my most anticipated thriller releases of this year. It's about a girl named Rebecca who disappears in 2003, and then 11 years later she is found, but it's not actually her, it's someone else who is pretending to be her and now is living her life, but the real Rebecca is actually still missing. This next one I'm also super excited about. It's called Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. It follows a Korean family through generations. We start in the early 1900s following a woman named Sunja who has an unplanned pregnancy which brings a lot of shame to her family. Fortunately, a young minister offers to marry her and they move to Japan together, and we continue following the family from there. It's been blurbed as the same sweep of Dickens and Tolstoy applied to a Korean family in the 20th century. I really enjoyed Min Jin Lee's other novel, Free Food for Millionaires, so I was really happy to pick this one up. The next book I grabbed was The Other Einstein by Marie Benedict. Just like another book I mentioned in a previous haul called Behave by Andromeda Romano Lax, which chronicles the life of the woman who was in a relationship with John Watson, the father of the School of Behaviorism. This one is about the woman who was in a relationship with Albert Einstein, also another well-known man in academia. I absolutely love that these books are coming out and acknowledging, exploring the portraits of these very important women's lives. This next book I picked up totally on a whim. I think Asana from Inkbones Books and Victoria from Victoria Shaw's was really excited about this. It's being published by Tor and it's called Arabella on Mars by David D. Levine. He has written a bunch of short fiction that has been highly acclaimed, but this is his first full-length novel. I really enjoyed meeting him because when he came out from like behind the curtain thing that all the authors are behind, he was like, oh my gosh, there are people here, and he was really excited to meet every single one of us, and that made me really stoked to pick up his book. It is being blurbed as an airship adventure with romance, sky pirates, Martians, automatons, and a world similar to Jules Verne, and I will probably be starting this one very soon. I'm super stoked that I grabbed The Lesser Bohemians by Emer McBride. Emer McBride was nominated for the Bailey Women's Prize for Fiction for her other novel, A Girl's a Half-Formed Thing, and this is her latest book. It's set in 1990s in England and it spans over 1 year. It's about a girl who goes off to go to drama school and she becomes involved in a relationship with a well-known actor. It's a coming-of-age story exploring the themes of passion, innocence, age, and discovery. Next we have The Woman in the Wall Dolls by Amy Lukovich. I believe this is YA horror. It's about a girl named Lucy who at the age of 3 her mom passed away and she is left to live in her big Victorian mansion with a cold, distant father and also her cousin. Aunt Penelope, who is Lucy's maternal figure, one day disappears in the woods by their house, and Lucy's cousin actually starts to hear voices, and over the span of the book her mental health deteriorates. Lucy herself also starts to hear voices. Then I picked up The Motion of Puppets by Keith Donahue, which is being published by Picador, and the novel is set in Quebec City in Canada. It's a modern take on the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. So we have this woman named Kay who falls in love with a puppet in this toy store that appears to never be open. However, one night she is walking home and she's really afraid and gets the sense that someone is following her, and she sees that this toy shop is somehow mysteriously open, so she takes refuge in the shop. The next morning her husband finds that she is missing and calls the police, and also finds that she has been actually transformed into one of these puppets, and the only way that she can become a human again is if he recognizes her in puppet form. It's being blurbed for readers who love Joe Hill and Neil Gaiman, so I am expecting some horror and magical realism elements. My next book is The Terranauts by T.C. Boyle, and once I tell you guys the description you'll be like, this is 100% a Joss book. So 4 men and 4 women were selected to live in an off-Earth colony prototype, and they are all called Terranauts. Their lives are all connected, and it is both a game of survival and also a game of why am I a tourist attraction, but most importantly, the themes of it surround motivation and the fragility of human nature itself. Next up, we have Cruel, Beautiful World by Caroline Leavitt. It's about 2 sisters, and one of them could potentially be running away with a man that could shatter the entire family structure, and it is set on a backdrop of the Vietnam War and the Charles Manson murders. Speaking of the Charles Manson murders, I'm so happy to have met Emma Cline, who is the author of the upcoming The Girls, which is loosely based on the Charles Manson murders. It is told from the point of view of a young girl named Evie Boyd, who is sucked in and enthralled by the presence of another girl named Suzanne. Suzanne herself is actually involved in a cult-like group that is based, like I said, on the Charles Manson murders. I've heard such good things about this book since it has been released in the UK, so there have been quite a few readers who have read it on BookTube. Emma Cline was also so kind in person, so this is probably another one that I'm going to be starting really soon. Myself and Jordan from the Jordan Journals sat in line for about 2 hours for this next book, and of course it is Gemena by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Illuminae is my lifeblood, so this was very high on the priority list. I also was very privileged to have met Maggie Stiefvater, the author of the Raven Cycle series, and she was signing finished copies of the 4th book, The Raven King. I've not yet read Blue Lily Lily Blue, but I really enjoyed the first 2, so I'm excited to read the last 2 together. So I had no idea that Emma Donoghue, who is the author of Room and a bunch of other works, was coming out with another book, but she is, and I was happy to have snagged an ARC. It's called The Wonder, and it's about an 11-year-old girl who appears to be subsisting in a cabin without any food at all, and this journalist Lib takes it upon herself to try and protect her and continue her survival in the cabin. These next 4 I saved for last because these are some of my most anticipated releases of the year. The first one of those is called Homegoing by Ya Jessie. She was signing finished copies at BEA, and she was so nice, but she was quiet and soft-spoken, but really humble and super kind. It's a work of fiction, and it chronicles over 300 years of warfare, slavery involving the British colonization in Ghana. This, of course, takes toll on the relationships of the people in the book, and on the back it was blurbed by Ta-Nehisi Coates, which is the author of Between the World and Me, which is a life-changing book. I am also lucky enough to have met Jonathan Safran Foer, and he signed his ARC of his newest book, Here I Am, and I was so tongue-tied when I talked to him that I think I called his book Incredibly Loud and Extremely Close, which is like all sorts of jumbled up. But anyways, this new one is about a fracturing family in a time of crisis. An earthquake takes place in the Middle East, and this has repercussions on people living in the United States. I think the last one by Alexandra Oliva is my most anticipated release of the year. It's being compared to both Station 11 and The Passage. I didn't even know that there would be galleys there, but apparently they were dropping at BookCon, so I picked one up. It's about 12 contestants who are thrown in this game show type situation and are forced to fend for their own survival in the woods. Something awful happens, and there is a woman named Zoo who is one of these contestants, and she is forced to fend for her own survival. Again, probably a lot lot of remarking about human nature and existentialism, so very excited for this one. Finally, if y'all remember, I adored What She Knew by Jilly McMillan. It was the only thriller that I have ever given 5 stars, so when I heard that her new book was being dropped at BEA, I had to pick up a copy, and this is called The Perfect Girl. This one focuses on Zoe. She is a 17-year-old music prodigy with a super high IQ, but 3 years ago she was involved in an incident that left 3 of her classmates dead. So we fast forward to present day, and she's involved in another incident where a woman dies. This book chronicles the new mystery as well as the old mystery over a span of 24 hours. Okay, so that is the end of the haul. I am going to leave a tiny little montage here of all the clips that I did happen to film in Chicago. I seriously had the best time at BEA and Bookcon, and it was really a testament of how strong the relationships can be that we form over the internet and through social media. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely do it again. So that is it for this video, and I will put the clips right here. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.